It starts about 9 o'clock in the evening when I start dreaming about my cup in the morning. And who doesn't love the smell of fresh brewed coffee? But today we're in the coffee aisle for ingredients for cooking. We're going to use a couple different roasts today to create an espresso coconut sauce, as well as a chili coffee rub. I'm Michael Williams, and today that's what we're cooking on the coast. Welcome to the kitchen. Today we express ourselves with espresso as we create an espresso mango sauce with coffee chili rub chicken. Let's get right to it. So I just finished putting a nice fine grind on some Colombian coffee beans from Level Ground. I'm gonna actually use these coffee beans in my spice rub. So nice fine grind, kind of like an espresso grind. Once that's good to go, we're ready to use that very shortly. We've got more than enough there. So let's go ahead and put together a spice rub. This is so simple and such an effective way to really bring some pizzazz into your cooking. We're gonna start off with some coffee because it is a coffee chili rub. So let's get some coffee in there. Next up, we're gonna grab some cane sugar. Coffee and sugar, good friends. They like each other. Beautiful, unprocessed cane sugar in there. And the way I'm building this is trying to get roughly equal parts of everything. All of the spices and flavors that I'm using are, fairly, mild. There's nothing too crazy. No like chipotle chili powder that's super strong that I need to be really careful with. So I'm just kind of roughly going about equal parts of everything. Beautiful product here, some smoked sea salt harvested right on Vancouver Island. So about equal part of that. Let's get a good shot of paprika in there. And then finally, I'm gonna grab some chili flakes. Some chili flakes that I've flaked myself. Beautiful little blend here that's not too spicy at all. Now we just stir this up and bring it all together, and we've just created a spice rub, and it smells amazing. We're actually gonna use it in a couple different ways as well. We're gonna coat our chicken, but I'm also gonna use it to coat our cauliflower. So we're gonna use it in a couple of different ways. So let's make sure our pan is heating up nicely. And we're gonna grab our chicken now, okay? So we can get that coated. Now I'm gonna bring out an extra board here because this is gonna be my chicken board. What I wanted with this chicken was a skin-on boneless chicken. That's what I'm looking for, a skin-on boneless chicken. Quite often, you can only buy skin on, bone in. So I'm gonna take the bones out myself. So I've got just a nice little utility knife here, and I'm just gonna work away here until you have that bone removed. And I'm doing this because I love the skin, the chicken skin. It's probably my favorite thing in the world. Crispy chicken skin, oh my goodness, love it. You might not like it, so if you don't, just go ahead and buy boneless, skinless. Totally fine, it'll work just as well for this recipe if that's what your preference is. But for me, skin, I'm all in. And I'm gonna hold on to these bones, and I will either feed them to my dog because she's on a raw diet and loves them, or I'll hold on to them and freeze them and use them for a chicken broth another day. In the meantime here, let's carry on with our spice rub. So I'm gonna grab a spoon so I don't contaminate our rub. And I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle liberally here, as you can see. And I'm just gonna really press that in to make sure we've got nice contact. Also wanna make sure that we've got it nicely incorporated on all sides of our chicken. Okay, that is looking fantastic. Now, I'm gonna give it just a kiss of oil here, and then we're gonna get it right into our grill pan, which is nice and smoking hot right now. Okay, ready for action. All right, so we're gonna let that do its thing. I'm gonna get cleaned up here, because you always gotta take care of your sanitation when you're working with chicken. Get everything tidied up here again. I made a bit of a mess. I tend to be a bit of a messy guy in the kitchen. But that's why you take those moments to tidy up. So let's look at our cauliflower now. We are going to process this cauliflower, and we're gonna use that spice rub on it as well. We're gonna get it into the mixing bowl, and then I've got this handy rack here, which we're gonna use to air fry our cauliflower. So I'm gonna cut this in half, and then I'm going to remove the core, like so. I'll show you that one more time. basically cutting a little V here. I start right at the top where that first floret meets the core. And on a bit of a 45, I'm just gonna cut that out a little bit more here. And that's gonna make it really easy for me to break this up. I'm gonna break it up by hand first, and then after I've broken it up by hand, I'll decide whether I need to, you know, cut up any really big pieces, and we'll just go from there. And we're looking for relatively bite-sized pieces of cauliflower here. And they will, of course, shrink as they cook, so you want to keep that in mind. A little bit bigger than you think will be just fine, because as they concentrate down and caramelize and that spice rub flavors incorporate into the cauliflower, they're going to become beautiful, tender little morsels. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. A couple more cuts. All right, that is going to go into a mixing bowl. And I want to just give it a very light coating of avocado oil. Avocado oil is a fantastic oil for high temperature cooking. And what I mean by that is when you're using high temperatures, some oils will burn easier than others. Avocado oil's got a really high smoke point is the term you're looking for. And because of that, it works really well for browning, caramelizing, and cooking. So we'll get a light coat of the avocado oil on there, and then a nice coat of our spice rub, our chili coffee spice rub. Now you might not know this, but a spice rub does not need to be rubbed. Sometimes you can just toss it. You can see how wonderful this is looking already. Beautiful colors. Very light little coating of oil. Maybe just a bit more of our spice rub. These things are going to be so delicious. And these just simply go right onto our air frying rack and into the oven. All right, so we're going to let that do its thing. Beautiful. Let's take a peek at our chicken. What I want to do here is I want to give it a shift, give it a 45-degree turn. We're looking pretty crispy already, so I'm just gonna roll with that. We'll be back later in the show to pull together our coffee chili rub chicken, but before that, we're road tripping. See you right after the break.
Cookin' on the Road is brought to you by Cold Star Solutions, an integral part of Vancouver Island's grocery supply chain for 20 years.
That is a lot of coffee. I'm here at Level Ground Coffee. I'm about to meet one of the owners, Stacy.
Michael, welcome here. Good to have you.
This is insane. How, like, what, 500 bags, 70 kilograms each?
Big sacks of green coffee. This specifically is Colombian, yeah.
Okay.
We have coffee coming in from 6 countries.
Yeah.
3 from South America, 3 from East Africa, and a decaf as well from South America. So
Colombia, the most popular?
One of the most,
yeah,
okay. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they come in green, so what happens from there?
Yeah, these are big bags of seeds.
Yes.
The Colombian sacks are 70-kilo sacks of seeds.
Yeah.
So we get whole shipping containers that come through the Port of Vancouver. They come over to the island on the night barge.
Okay.
And it's here at Level Ground on the peninsula that we put them into roasts and send them out to customers.
I can smell it.
Oh yeah.
It smells amazing in here right now. It's incredible. From here, it's going into the roasting room, which I had a peek into earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it, because I want to grab some beans and make a cup right as we're done here. Would that be good?
Oh yeah. It would be good, but it would even get better if you waited a few days.
Okay.
Now we service all the stores on the island with basically next day service if we get an order.
Wow.
So a customer that's ordering coffee for like a grocery store, they're getting it really soon after we've roasted it, usually the next day.
Yeah.
And usually the best tasting coffee is about a week after it's come out of the roaster.
Okay.
So it's not same day fresh that's best.
Right.
It has to degas and lose some carbon dioxide.
Okay, that makes sense.
We've been scaling up our facility since we started 22 years ago. This is our 4th facility since we got going.
2 years,
yeah.
wow.
We started in '97, and our little small batch roaster we used was the same as a 4-liter ice cream pail.
Yeah.
5 pounds of coffee in, and coffee shrinks when you roast it, so it'd be 4 pounds of coffee out.
Yeah.
So now when we get to look in our roasting room, you'll see we have 3 different roasters, and rather than adding a bigger roaster as we grow, we've added more roasters that we say small batch artisan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense. Keep it
really high quality small batch. That's
excellent.
right.
Okay.
So as a chef for yourself, it must be great to see roasting coffee here. But most of all, I'd love to show you our tasting room. Let's go try some.
That sounds awesome. Let's do it.
Welcome to our tasting room, Michael.
Thank you. It is so beautiful in here. I had no idea. got a new favorite coffee spot apparently.
Woohoo, we sure do. Yeah. Thank you, Joshua.
Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. Oh wow, that's a delicious cappuccino.
That's nice, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
so good.
That's made with our espresso blend, which is kind of on the lighter end of the spectrum. So that's a blend of coffees from a few different countries. And just like wine, coffee gets graded out of a 100-point score. So that's a 92-point plus coffee. The French, on the other hand, would be the darkest coffee that we produce.
That's my favorite right there.
That's your fave? Yeah.
So working here, what, how many cups do you drink a day?
I really can't tell you.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. I learned so much about coffee. Great experience.
Thanks. Great having you, Michael.
Yeah. Back to the kitchen. We're pulling together our espresso coconut mango sauce with coffee chili rub chicken. Super stoked, smells amazing, all kinds of creative juices, wonderful smells happening. We're gonna pull out a poblano pepper here and cut this in half, and I'm just gonna throw this on the grill. Idea being just a nice kind of accent to the plate and an extra vegetable. You can't go wrong with veggies. I'm loving my veggies. So those guys will compost, of course. And I'm just gonna get this into the grill pan along with our chicken. While the chicken finishes up, our poblano peppers can also get nicely grilled. Find a spot for them, shift things around a little bit. Oh yeah, wow. Happy times. Okay, so let's start making our sauce now. So we used Colombian coffee beans in our spice rub. Now we're gonna use an espresso to make espresso. Imagine that. Now, did you know that espresso is regulated by the Italian government because it's so important to their daily lives? That is pretty cool. I'm down with that. I've got a hot kettle over there. We're gonna come make some espresso pretty quick here, but first I wanna get our pot going. So I'm gonna get that heating up so that we can fry off some shallot and some ginger. Shallot, ginger, coconut milk, mango, espresso. That's everything. That's it. Super simple. Something totally different though. A little bit creative. Maybe you've never heard of an espresso coconut mango sauce. I've never heard of one till I made it up. So first thing we need is some sliced shallots. So I'm just going to slice these fairly thin. And the same with our ginger here. You know, I'm gonna chop that up just a little bit more. That's looking good there. So ginger, you may not know, does not need to be peeled. And we just want a little bit of ginger, not too much. It's obviously very strong here, and I don't want to compete too hard with the espresso flavor in this sauce. So I am just going to use a little bit of ginger, just a slight flavor accent. And we'll get that sliced nice and fine. So you want to just keep chopping away here until it's a nice fine dice. And let's go ahead and get that now into our pot. So I'm gonna pull that avocado oil out again. Now before, I used the avocado oil because it's a high smoke point. At this point, I'm not gonna be browning the shallots and the ginger. I am just going to sweat, but I'm using the avocado oil because it's neutral in flavor. Once again, you know, letting that espresso really shine in the sauce. So in those go. I'm just gonna slice up this mango now. This is a beautiful, dried, organic mango, unsulfured, so that's why it looks, you know, it's not that bright yellow that you sometimes see. This is the way it should look, a dried mango. We wanna slice this really thin as well, because that's going to soften up and become one of the flavor components in our sauce as well. So that's ready to go. Let's go ahead and get busy with our espresso. So I've got a nice fine grind on our espresso coffee here. I'm gonna get this going in the AeroPress, the most inexpensive espresso maker in the world, and some say one of the finest. I love my AeroPress, fantastic tool. Get our ground coffee in there. Put that guy away for now. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our kettle. We're gonna wet our filter. And we're going to go ahead and just pour our water in. Now, one of the barista tips or techniques is just to get a little bit of water in there to start so you can bloom your grinds. I don't know exactly what that means, but I still do it because it sounds cool. I think it has something to do with, I don't know, letting off some kind of vapors or something. I'm not sure, I'm speculating here. But I like pretending like I'm a cool barista with my AeroPress. And so the idea is to let it sit for, 20, 30 seconds or so, and then go ahead and add the rest of your water. Now we don't want too much water in there because we really want a nice, thick, concentrated espresso to go into our sauce. Speaking of, let's go ahead and get our coconut milk into the pot here. We've browned very, very lightly our shallots and our ginger. So we're now ready to get our coconut milk in. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take mostly the top part of the coconut milk, and I'm gonna reserve the liquid part of the coconut milk for another use, another day. Probably throw it into a smoothie or something like that. No sense in tossing it out, but I do want this sauce to be nice and rich. So because of that, I'm only using that top, very rich, thick part of the coconut milk. And we'll crank that up a little bit, get it simmering. And let's go get our, actually, yeah, let's get our espresso finished here. We're done with our kettle. So we're going to add our cap on. We're going to invert this onto our cup and press away. Slow, steady pressure. That's what we're looking for here. You don't want to push too hard. Slow, steady pressure. It does take a little bit of elbow grease, but I'm okay with that. It's almost there. Oh, this is probably one of my favorite processes. Start every day making a cup of coffee. And when you can use it in your cooking too, hey, why not? All right, so espresso's ready to go. Let's get our mango into the pot so that can have a chance to soften up a little bit. And let's go ahead and add our espresso as well. Oh wow, this is coming together nicely. So all I need to do now is add a little bit of seasoning into there, and I used that smoked salt earlier in the spice rub, so I might as well roll with that as well. So we'll get a little bit of smoked salt in there, and then, oh, that's probably a bit too much. We'll start there, and we'll taste after things have softened up a little bit. Let's start building our plate. We're gonna start with our lovely grilled poblano peppers. I magically threw a flip in there that you didn't see. Actually, you know what? I want to cut this chicken. So I'm going to put a nice little cut on here. Just adds for beautiful presentation. So we'll go ahead and put that right onto our pepper. Let's grab our cauliflower now. Even this just smells incredible. Oh yeah, that rub, that's a winner right there. I love that rub. It's gonna be a go-to. So once our cauliflower's on, things are coming together nicely. This is a very kind of rustic, beautiful looking kind of dish here. I'm liking it, I'm loving it. Let's go ahead, give our sauce a stir. And you know what, we should give our sauce a taste. Let's see how that came together. Those mangoes have softened up beautifully. Oh, wow. Now it's time to drizzle. Just gonna go ahead and drizzle all around here. Let this sauce really become part of this dish. Get it over everything. Those little bits of mango, the shallots, the ginger, a little bit of espresso flavor. Lots going on here. Fantastic. There you have it, espresso coconut mango sauce with coffee chili rub chicken.
Pairings are brought to you by Liquor Plus. Discover the plus.
What better way to enjoy a delicious culinary creation than with the perfect beverage pairing? We're here today with Wade Moore of Persephone Brewing. Welcome to the kitchen.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Awesome, yeah. Really looking forward to seeing what you chose to pair up with my dish here. I've got a coffee spice rub with an espresso coconut mango sauce. Yep. So there's lots going on. Maybe a bit of a tricky pairing. What do you think?
Yeah, I had to phone in some help on that one, but I brought the Persephone Black Lager today, some of the darker beer characteristics with the coffee and that I thought might go well with this.
That makes sense. Black lager. I've never heard of a black lager before.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a lighter beer, so it's a 4.5% lager kind of body to it, but you get all the nice dark characteristics.
Should we see how it looks?
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm excited. So Persephone Brewing, why don't you tell us a little bit about Persephone Brewing? I've heard of them so many times, but I've never actually tried, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, so Persephone is up in Gibson's on the Sunshine Coast.
Okay.
It's a little ferry ride out of Vancouver.
Yeah.
And they're kind of a unique brewery that they sit on like an 11-acre hop farm, which isn't just specific to hops. They have bee farm there. They do a garden program back with the community there and stuff. They use some of those ingredients, like the Coast Life lager they do is actually hops from the farm that they actually put back into the beer.
Amazing. I love that.
They do two honey beers this year, and they use honey from the farm that they use back into it. So with a food show, it kind of fits a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, let's have a sip here and see how we're gonna do.
I'm good so far.
That's me too. That's nice. I like that black lager. So I'm gonna have a little taste of my food here. It's roasted cauliflower along with that spice. I used the spice rub on both.
Right.
On the cauliflower and the chicken. Chilies, coffee, smoked salt.
Cheers.
Cheers. That works for me.
Yeah,
I think
so
that's
far,
delicious.
so good. I think,
I'm really liking that.
Yeah, I think with the lightness of the body of the beer there, with those dark notes and some of that coffee and whatnot, really pairs up good with the sauce and the chicken here.
I think it does. There's a lot of richness in the sauce, and I'm finding the beer is cutting it just right. This is a great pairing.
Yeah.
So I don't know who your ringer is, but they did a good job.
I owe a couple beers to someone, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. You know what? This has been great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Check out the website where you're going to find the lowdown on today's show. I'm Michael Williams. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, dinner's better when we eat it together. Have a bite.
Yeah.
Try that chicken.